lecture, we will review many definitions within interdisciplinary studies. But first, why do definitions matter? Well, one of the reasons that is important to understand why definitions matter is because the way we define things help us determine how we think about them. And how we think about them can affect how we act or behave. Rowlands state that definitions and boundaries are virtually important for us to understand and share our interpretation of the world and others. Clear definitions provide certainty about the thing we want to talk about. Now, definitions matter when individuals or groups use the same word but have different understandings of its meanings. Now, if I were to ask you on a quiz, why do definitions matter? What would you say? Well, one of the reasons that it is important to understand why definitions matter is because the way we define things helps us determine how we think about them. And how we think about things can affect how we act. Okay, so in regards to an integrated definition of interdisciplinary, first, I think we should define integrated. What do we mean? Well, it is to make into a whole by bringing all parts together, to unify. A report that integrates the findings of previous studies. Or we could say to join with something else, to unite. A music program that was integrated with the general curriculum. Or to make part of a larger unit. So this is the definition of integrated. So when we're talking about how it relates to interdisciplinary studies, please understand it's just to unify or to bring together or to make part of a larger unit. Okay, let's move on. So, interdisciplinary studies is a cognitive process by which individuals or groups draw on disciplinary perspectives and integrate their insights and modes of thinking to advance their understanding of a complex problem with the goal of applying the understanding to real-world problems. Interdisciplinary denotes a particular approach to study that is distinct from disciplinary approaches. It involves two or more academic, scientific, or artistic disciplines. And just a reminder, when we speak of disciplinary studies, a discipline is a branch of learning or body of knowledge such as physics, psychology, or history. Disciplinarity refers to the system of knowledge specialties called disciplines. So disciplinary studies relate to a specific field of academic study. So interdisciplinary denotes a particular approach to study that is distinct from disciplinary approaches. It involves two or more academic, scientific, or artistic disciplines. Now, the 5 ideas of integrated definition of interdisciplinary are as follows. First, cognitive process of drawing on disciplinary perspectives, a discipline's unique view of reality. Second, integrate insights. Third, advance understanding. Fourth, complex problem. An interdisciplinary problem can be stated as a problem, an issue, a question, a hypothesis, or an imagined or projected world. And fifth, apply the understanding. Okay, so some other definitions within the interdisciplinary studies are as followed. First being multidisciplinarity. It is placing side by side of insights from two or more disciplines without attempting to integrate them. In multidisciplinarity, each discipline maintains its precepts and methods. So, multidisciplinarity implies a union without integration of two or more disciplines. It is common for multidisciplinarity to appear in the field of health. A patient is usually cared for and attended by experts from different areas who work together to carry out diagnoses and define treatments. These experts may include a cardiologist and an infectious disease specialist. Now, they collaborate with each other, although each one contributes with regard to their own specialty. So there is a multidisciplinary care of the individual's state. So again, multidisciplinarity is a non-integrative mixture of disciplines in that each discipline retains its methodologies and assumptions without change or development from other disciplines within the multidisciplinary relationship. Multidisciplinarity is distinctly different than interdisciplinarity because of the relationship that the discipline shares. Within a multidisciplinary relationship, this cooperation may be mutual but not interactive, while interdisciplinary blends the practices and assumptions of each discipline involved. Now, transdisciplinarity is another one. It is an approach related to multidisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity, but it is very different. It means research that integrates not just across disciplines, but across non-academic sources of insight from stakeholders and practitioners. So according to Repko, stakeholders may include local businesses, government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and various other interest groups. Transdisciplinarity connotes a research strategy that crosses many disciplinary boundaries to create a holistic approach. It implies to research effort focused on problems that cross the boundaries of two or more disciplines. Now, let's get back to the beginning of this lecture and why definitions matter. Again, hint, hint, if I were to ask you this question on a quiz, you would know the answer, right? One of the reasons that it is important to understand why definitions matter is because the way we define things helps determine how we think about them. And how we think about them reflects on how we act. Definitions matter when individuals or groups use the same word but have very different understanding of its meaning. And to integrate just means to make into a whole by bringing all parts together, to unify, to join with something else, to unite, to make part of a larger unit.